This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
You know who we are. We're your friendly neighborhood Baconsale. That's it.
That's it?
It's short, yeah.
Baconsale.
That's actually kind of fun to do.
It's only fun if you do it with your hands.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, is that the mechanical noise or like the biological noise?
Kind of both.
Pew, shink.
I'll be interesting. Welcome to Big Stuff, everyone. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And Jacob.
Kind of both.
Why are we going so fast? Do we want to make this an hour?
We're going to try it.
That was actually 8 words, so yeah.
We're going to try and keep this as quick as possible.
Just slow it down, you can hear it.
Just because we got a lot to do, and we got a short time to do it in.
Indeed.
Yes.
It's time for Spidey versus Spidey versus Spidey, or Spider-Man versus Spider-Man versus Spider-Man, or what's the next one, Joel?
Those are the only two we
Peter
had.
Parker versus Peter Parker versus Peter Pumpkin Eater.
Peter Parker picked a pack of pickled peppers.
Thank you very much. Remember how we tried to speed this one up?
Yes,
Not
but
gonna happen.
last time we did this type of show was in episode 18 back in August
is
of
so long
2015.
ago.
Are you kidding me?
It's almost 2 years.
It's old.
That's almost 100 years, 100 episodes ago.
It was almost 100 episodes ago, and that's when we talked about Spy versus Spy versus Spy, or Bond versus Bourne versus Hunt.
Bonnie Hunt.
Which we thought was a great idea.
Yes, exactly.
So much that we replicated it 100 episodes later.
Yes, but the way it's going to work is something like this. We have our 3 Spider-Men, being Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland.
Yes.
And we are grouping their movies together in those types of groups. Maguire,
Holland,
Garfield.
Yes.
I'm trying to go in order.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Jacob has a series of categories that he's going to read off to us. And then
I sure do.
Kent and I are going to rank them to see who is the number one in each category.
Now, is this entirely fair because Holland just has the one movie that we all just saw?
With 1.5.
With bits
1
from
1/3.
Civil War.
Yeah.
Yes. But, it did establish a lot for the character, so...
Yes. Because we have 3 movies from Jerry Maguire. Gosh, dang it.
This is not going
I
to
knew
go
it was going to go
Maguire.
well. From, what's his first name? Tobey Maguire. And then we have 2 movies from Andrew Garfield. And then we have, we'll say 1 1/3 from
Tom Holland. Yes.
So this is a way we can kind of pit these Spider-Men against one another in a debate-like format. So let's get into it.
Nice.
Us indeed.
And thank you for listening.
All right. First category. Who has the best one-liners?
Best one-liners. Because Spider-Man is known.
It's his
For
thing.
his
First one-liners.
Yes.
Yeah.
As Peter Parker, he is a nerd. As Spider-Man, he is a quick-witted hero.
He is.
For example, every villain he fights has some sort of random power, and he basically makes fun of them for that power and how he foils their plans,
Makes fun of
basically.
people's abilities?
Yeah. Wow.
Ouch.
Spider-Man's a jerk.
What a jerk. Let's cancel this show.
Canceled. So are we
Does
going...
Tom Holland cancel it?
No.
Are we going 3, 2, 1?
3, 2, 1. So worst,
least?
middle, best. Kent, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I think the worst one-liners belong to... I want to call him Jerry Maguire. Tobey Maguire. Toby.
Those are the worst ones?
Has the worst one-liners because really...
Seems like there's the most there.
He doesn't make fun of a lot of people. He just responds to them. Like, it's mostly like they try to hit him and he's like, oh, nice try. And that's about it. Like, his Spider-Man is not very funny, I noticed. Mm-hmm. And I just
You
watched...
noticed or you thought?
I noticed because I just watched the 3 movies. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I did.
Okay, good. I actually want your examples.
Okay.
My second would be Tom Holland because it is a funny movie, and one of his lines is, "Wait a minute, you guys aren't the real Avengers? I can tell. Hulk totally gives it away."
Which wasn't in the actual movie. It was only in the trailer.
No, it was.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Did you hear it?
I think I heard that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because I was waiting for that line when he
Isn't
says,
that
"You're not really
AT&T
the Avengers."
No, I definitely heard that line.
Yeah? Oh, I kept waiting for it.
Whereas Andrew Garfield, he says something like, "You should see the other guy. The other guy in this instance being a giant mutant lizard." Stuff like that. I think Andrew Garfield, when he becomes Spider-Man, has the best one-liners as Spider-Man. Joel?
We're not going to agree on this.
Okay.
Very much at all. Because I put my number 3 as Garfield. I feel like his...
Really?
I feel like his Spider-Man was kind of like, hey, I'm improv-ing. Look, hey, but no, this is my improv class. I can do funny things. Let's do 20 takes on this and see what I come up with.
But I mean, you're...
Oh no, the one weakness is little knives.
No, yeah, he says, "My weakness, small knives. Anything but knives." Like, that's funny. Like, when you're fighting someone,
That's his
you're
best
going
line.
to have to improv.
That's his best line.
You think that's his best line?
That's his best
I think
line.
it's a great line.
But then you get, and then I'm going to put Maguire second.
Okay.
Because I feel like the Sam Raimi Evil Dead type stuff, when he says a line like, just when he's teasing bone saw, and he says, "That's a nice outfit. Did your wife buy it for you?"
Yeah.
Just to tick him off. Like, he's not really like
It's not
I don't know.
hilarious. It's just trash talking.
Yeah, that's what it is. It was very comic booky to me. And I think my number 1 is actually Holland. I just gave that to him tonight. because there were so many quips he gave.
Do you remember any?
For example,
I know. I'm trying to remember. I wrote the other ones down. I wasn't able to write.
sure that wasn't Tony Stark.
No, Tony Stark
saying
didn't
that.
have as many one-liners, but
He didn't do any zings, really,
I liked his.
except for the pooch thing.
That was funny.
That was awkward.
That was.
The hybrid children.
But I thought Tom
yeah,
Holland
remember.
was
Yeah.
probably the funniest Spider-Man. Like just the way he
Funniest movie though, or funniest Spider-Man? Because this is all about the one-liners.
It's about the one-liners, but I thought, and I can't think of any off the top of my head because I didn't have it. I just barely saw it and got here and wasn't able to type it up. But
Because I looked up on IMDb and couldn't find any funny quotes.
well, it's barely
From
out.
Holland.
They haven't done the IMDb people haven't
IMDb
done
quotes
their
are up.
Not all of them.
Yeah, no, they're up.
The ones from the trailer,
Full-on dialogue
from the
from the
trailer,
movie
from the
and-
trailer.
and no
but
funny
Garfield's
quotes.
definitely the least. I think we can all agree on that. Next category.
Not hardly.
All right, next category is best soundtrack.
Best soundtrack.
And we're just going one winner on this one, right?
We didn't really talk about that on the Bacon bit, did we? We
I
really
actually
need
did.
to as well.
I did 3-2-1 on this one, so I'll go first. I thought Amazing Spider-Man is probably my number 3, although it was the final American film to be scored by James Horner and released during his lifetime. But I don't really remember any music from The Amazing Spider-Man, and I just watched it, and I can't remember any music from it. Number 2, I gave to Holland and his the new series because I liked the retro music. I like how it ends with the Ramones and how the dance they're playing Flock of Seagulls. I got a kick out of that. And the trailer, like even though it's not in the movie, the trailer music of Time to Pretend by Management, I thought that was great too. So the music associated with it.
I say it's interesting or gutsy or something like that. Like during the first part of the movie, before I picked up on the theme, I was like, "Why are they playing this music? Like this is weird."
Yeah.
but it did
Spider-Man
work. It
thing.
did work
Yeah.
by the end. Yeah.
And then my number 1, I gave to Danny Elfman doing the score for Spider-Man. Dang it, Jerry Maguire every time. Tobey Maguire.
Let's just call him Jerry.
But
Jerry
the problem
Maguire.
is, I wanted to sing it, like do the tune, but every time I try to, it turns into the Flash theme song. Where
Yeah,
it's like,
I know.
dun,
No, I actually
dun,
love Spider-Man's
dun,
theme,
dun.
and that is my number 1. Spider-Man 2 actually, for me, has the best soundtrack of any of them.
Because of Dashboard Confessional.
No, heavens no.
I am selfish. I am wrong. I am right. I swear I'm right. Swear I knew it all along, and I am fine. But I am cleaning up so well. I am seeing in me now the things you swore you saw yourself.
I saw those guys in concert like 4 months ago, and that was like Chris Carrabba was in the podcast room with us right now.
It's just the emotions as they bubble up. That's what happens.
Can you sing the Nickelback song from Spider-Man 1?
And they say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand in your way.
Yep.
Jeremy spoken.
Spider-Man 2 has the best soundtrack. Oh my gosh, I'm laughing so hard. Andrew Garfield for the Amazing Spider-Man for me. Yeah, you're right. I can't remember any themes, but the emotional moments for me packed a punch because of the soundtrack.
You know, the only music I can think of is in the Amazing Spider-Man franchise is when Electro
plays.
Bam, 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 bam. And I was like, that was terrible.
That was more of an effect, but for me is the orchestral stuff behind the big emotional scenes. I can't recall them, but for me, they hit.
I couldn't remember the one-liners. I'll give you a pass on the orchestral score.
I don't need your pass, so thank you very much.
I will give it to you. Here
And for
you
me,
go.
the Holland one, I appreciate that they used the Spider-Man. They made it epic, but that it started and ended with the theme, and that was it. So that's the worst.
All right, next category. Best acting.
Ooh, now see, this is an actual category where we may agree, Kent.
I think we probably will.
I don't know if we will.
I don't know
though.
if we will
I
on
don't
the
know if we
second
will.
place. I'll go first.
Number 3.
See, this is where we may disagree. And I know I feel it's going to feel like I'm picking on Holland, but he actually does win a few
The
categories
country?
here. Yeah.
Tom Holland.
What a jerk.
Those windmills.
I hate
What are they good
tulips.
for? I loved him on Twisted Metal too, but that's about it.
I love Twisted Metal
Isn't it
too.
awesome?
Yeah.
When you fight in
Although
Holland.
Holland was really fun, but I was much more the France
France.
guy. I love knocking over the Eiffel Tower.
High five.
Yeah.
So for me, Holland, I think he's a very good actor. I didn't really love his portrayal because he's kind of just trying to really be American kid, and it didn't really
Michael
work.
J. Fox?
Yes. I think he has potential, but he never switches up his acting role, and he can only ever pull a surprise face. It's only like, and for me,
Let the record show Kent had a surprise face.
for me,
It's not just his asthma.
Maguire in this, like, he's a good actor in this role. He's not the greatest actor, but he does pull off range. Like when he needs to deliver an emotional moment, he does. But he has a really ugly cry face.
So Holland 3, Maguire 2.
What, you're knocking him down for an ugly cry face?
It's an ugly cry face.
It's just an
Some
ugly
people
face.
have an ugly cry face.
all around.
It's
all
really
around.
ugly.
Am I right?
Yeah.
happens.
And clearly, I think the shining moment of any of the Amazing Spider-Man movies is Andrew Garfield's acting. He is So great.
I thought he was going to say abs there for a second.
His abs. No, Tom Holland. Did you see those abs?
Yeah, they like showing that off.
Andrew Garfield, he has a natural insecurity about him anyways, so it works. And he's never once cringeworthy like even Tobey Maguire was.
Oh my gosh, he's British too, isn't he?
Yes.
Man, what's with this?
Toby wasn't. Toby was American.
2 out of 3 Spider-Men are British.
I know.
Yeah.
The crap.
The redcoats are coming.
Don't get him started on Superman.
Joel?
Okay, so we're going to kind of agree, but not quite. I put Holland last as well because he does that one note well.
Yes.
But he didn't really show a range. There was no, I mean, he was sad at one point.
I think as he grows as an actor, he will in upcoming movies.
I mean, you look at the, what's it called? The Impossible?
The Impossible.
Yeah, and he did great in that.
He's even okay in Lost City of Z, which came out earlier this year. Yeah.
But I give him the least one because I think he had the least range. I'm going to give my second one to Garfield.
Okay.
Because I think
Is it close?
Because he got second place because he had those emotional moments. But I'm giving my number one to Tobey Maguire only because we saw the range. Because Garfield, I think we're talking about a cat. Andrew Garfield, he had the really sad scene when Gwen Stacy died. Spoiler alert for Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And that was good.
Were they on a break?
That's usually what I do. Yeah. You insensitive jerk. To me, not to Gwen Stacy.
Right.
But I feel like he only had the 2 notes where it was like he was either quipping or crying. Whereas I feel Tobey Maguire, we saw rage, we saw happy, we saw anger, we saw very intense sadness. We saw his pores.
We saw emo.
He's very memeable.
Yeah.
We saw emo.
We saw his
very
dancing.
memeable.
But I think he did the best acting because I think...
You can see a lot more when there's 3 movies, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that Andrew Garfield, to his credit, seeing him in one movie to another, you can see he's probably the better actor.
Yes.
But in the Spider-Man universe, in just looking at those movies, I think Tobey Maguire had the better range.
It's going to sound like I'm giving a lot of credit to the Amazing Spider-Man movies, even though there's one good one.
Kent was actually married to the Amazing Spider-Man movies for
I know.
a while.
Isn't that weird? It got annulled after the second one after Sony canceled it. I do think Andrew Garfield is like the best actor given probably the worst material. And
kind of like Pierce Brosnan in James Bond.
Exactly.
One of the best Bonds, some of the worst
Andrew
movies.
Garfield was born to play Spider-Man.
I think that's fair, actually. Yeah.
Well, I feel bad, too, because I read the interview with him after they basically said, you're not Spider-Man anymore. Yeah. And he was very open and somewhat vulgar about how he felt.
Yeah, he kind of hated the studio systems after that.
Yeah.
But you should have seen him. His first Comic-Con when they announced him as Spider-Man.
That was wonderful.
He was dressed up as Spider-Man in the audience, asked a question at this panel, and then basically unveiled himself. And
he said, thank you so much for letting me be the Spider-Man. And he had the passion
something
for
he wanted to be since he was a kid. And it was just snatched away with The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Which wasn't that bad.
It wasn't.
Can I go into that just real quick?
Do we want to defend that?
It wasn't that good either,
No, not the movie. I'm saying it didn't do that bad. I mean, okay, just to look at it.
Oh, you mean money-wise?
Money-wise and Rotten Tomatoes-wise.
Okay.
So Amazing Spider-Man 2, it made $708 million.
That's good.
That's
really
very good. But it is the only rotten Spider-Man movie out of the 6, 7 we have here. Because I have Captain America. I'll just go in order here.
It made $700 million. Why would it be tossed?
And it only got a 53%, which is rotten, but not that rotten. It's not. I don't mean to say this is a.
It's Man of Steel rotten.
It's not Batman v Superman rotten, where it's like the score is so low people are shocked,
right?
Because it's middle of the road.
Yeah.
And yet it got canceled. And Spider-Man 3, I might say is worse. But it got a 63%. It's still fresh.
It is a bit crazy. Spider-Man 3 is the worst movie.
$890 million. It is the highest grossing standalone Spider movie. Standalone meaning Civil War is $1.1 billion, but Spider-Man 3. And yet Spider-Man 3 killed the franchise.
Here's what they got. Here's what worried them is even before they finished Spider-Man or The Amazing Spider-Man 2, they had already set a date for The Amazing Spider-Man 3 and the Sinister Six and a Venom movie and a Black Cat movie. And so when people start coming out saying, whoa, this is bad, this is really bad, Sony freaked out and canceled everything. And they said,
it seems so weird.
That's crazy.
Because it wasn't that bad.
Also, remember, Sony was having some issues with hackers at this time.
Oh, that's right.
And so a lot of stuff was going around, and there was a lot of really bad blood between Sony to Andrew Garfield, and then he kind of just walked away from the whole thing.
Huh. So Andrew Garfield walked away?
He had to. Oh. I mean, he was fired, but
Well, in Spider-Man 3, actually, they had Sam Raimi, the director of Spider-Man, of all the original 3 Spider-Man. Spider-Man-I. But he
Spider-Manage.
He was going to make number 4, and he hates number 3. Even though he directed it, he's very much not happy with it. But he said he had 4 kind of in mind what he wanted to do, and him and the studio just could not see eye to eye. So after, I don't know, Spider-Man 3 came out in 2007.
Does he make movies anymore? I haven't seen anything from him.
Not many.
Yeah.
He's attached to something. But yeah, he doesn't really work on movies anymore.
But then in 2011, after back and forth, they finally said, forget it, we're going with this other one.
You know what's funny is Spider-Man 3 was meant to have the Vulture, played by John Malkovich, which is kind of perfect, right?
Yeah, that does.
And then Black Cat was going to be played by Anne Hathaway, which is a weird choice, but she did play Catwoman eventually.
She did.
And so he loves the classic villains, and then Sony's like, nope, we love 90s villains. Put in Venom. Venom needs to be in Spider-Man 3 and to clutter up that movie.
Venom was better than the Sandman storyline.
I think if Sandman was given time, it would have been a better plot.
No, and see, I don't like how they retrofit Uncle Ben's story in Spider-Man 3.
Oh, that was so dumb.
How it's like, oh no, it wasn't the guy you originally thought killed
Yes.
Uncle Ben. It's this other guy. He really killed him. And it was an accident. And
I
I'm
know.
like, no, that really bothered
I was really
me.
excited to watch that one again to give it another chance, and I was like, oh man, it really isn't good.
Yeah.
Dang it.
In full confession, I watched Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, and The Amazing Spider-Man. That's as much as I had time for this past week.
So you didn't watch the bad ones.
So I didn't watch the bad ones yet, but I do plan on going back and watching them. I read up on them on
Yeah.
Wikipedia, and I remember reading that and being like, oh, that's right. I hated that
Yeah,
part.
I spent the past week watching all of them, and
Nice.
then previous I watched Homecoming. So
How's your dating life?
yeah, no, pretty good.
Okay, good.
Sam Raimi's working on a movie called World War III.
Okay,
Z or 3?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, but he
Okay.
hasn't done anything but
Wow,
shorts.
we kind of went off
and
the rails
TV.
there.
Next category.
Jacob, bring
it's
us
fun
back
facts.
to the rails.
Fun
Yeah.
facts by Baconsale.
All right, next category is Best Female Lead. The Unforgettable Liz.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
The unforgettable Liz.
I was going to ask a question about that because my number 3 was the Holland franchise, and I didn't know if Zendaya was the one I was supposed to be talking about, or if I was supposed to be talking about Liz. I can't remember the actress's name.
It's
I'm so
Laura
sorry.
Harrier.
Laura Harrier. That's right. I have it right there.
Ken's obsessed.
Guys, I do this. This is the walking the IMDb over here.
I know. I had it on here, but there it is, right above that. Well, my bad. But I feel like she was the
that where you have
weakest
their picture
because I don't know who Zendaya is. I've never seen whatever show she's associated with. So I spent most of Spider-Man Homecoming thinking that the love interest was Zendaya. And it wasn't until midway through I went, no, wait, that's Zendaya, the rebel girl. And so
who's Zendaya? Tell us about Zendaya.
The uglied up nerd.
No.
movie.
I mean, like, what is that as a, as a pop culture
I
comic
think
book
she's
reference?
like, no, that's the actress's name.
Oh, that's just her name?
She plays a character named Michelle. Michelle and Liz.
I guess. But they're number
Yeah.
3.
I thought
Are you going to agree with me on number 3 there?
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, I think we're going to agree on this because my number 2 is Dunst.
Which is too bad because
Kirsten Dunst.
I'm a fan of Kirsten Dunst, but I think she is weakest in the Spider-Man series because she's so dang mopey.
Well, and all she really does is scream. She does have some good moments, but mostly all she's there for
I liked
is
her in
screaming.
Spider-Man 1 quite a bit.
In fact,
actually.
they recycled her screams. I think, I can't remember if it was 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, but they basically took her screams from the previous movie and just kind of dubbed them in for the next movie because she just screams.
Right.
But she does have some good moments with Spider-Man, and our number 1 is obviously
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. We
She's
love
brilliant.
her in La La Land.
Kent likes Amazing Spider-Man for something.
Spider-Man. Yes, Spider-Man.
Oh, no, I really like Amazing Spider-Man.
No, I didn't mean Kent. I meant Joel.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
because, like Kent said, Kirsten Dunst didn't have a lot to do.
Except for mope and be mad at Peter Parker.
and be the damsel in distress.
Right.
And kiss him upside down.
Emma Stone,
Which is pretty cool.
I like her I like her as an actress, but I also like her in this role because she's able to be this foil to Peter Parker. Like when he first sneaks into Oscorp, and she kind of like
notices him there.
yeah,
like,
notices
you're not
him there,
supposed
like
to be
yeah,
here.
and kind of, but she lets him have a pass until he screws up. Then she's like, yeah, give me your badge, you're out
Yeah.
of here. And I like that. I like Emma Stone. Kent,
I love Emma Stone. Same.
Same.
I would like to.
Emma,
Emma Stone, if you're out
if you're
there.
listening, I can give you a non-creeper, non-pervert
I think Jim Carrey
guarantee.
tried that once on YouTube, and it didn't really work out.
Probably not, no.
Yeah.
Gross.
Best Moral Crisis. Who
This
had that one?
I'm in right now.
I went with this one.
This is my moral crisis.
I went with the taglines or his code in each movie for the moral crisis on this one, and kind of how it just kind of laid out the series or there for each franchise as a whole. I think the weakest one is Tom Holland's, and basically the line from Tony Stark is, "If you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it." And I was like, okay,
It's a good line.
And in it,
but that's the whole
it's not a great
emotional
line.
depth.
You shouldn't have it.
It's not- yeah, it's not
It
a
comes
good-
together in the end, I will say.
Yeah, it does. It works.
And fine enough. But there's nothing really there. There's really no emotional moments. There's no weight there. I will say Garfield has he's second place with the borrowed line that they try to mix it up.
Well,
And
they can't quite say the same line.
so Martin Sheen rambles for a really long time. And Martin Sheen does a fine job as Uncle Ben. But he says, if you could do good things for other people, you have a moral obligation to do those things. And then he says, this is the borrow. Not choice, responsibility.
there it is.
not choice, responsibility. And you're like, come on, just say the line.
Yeah.
And then number 1 is Tobey Maguire's, the classic comic book line, with great power comes great responsibility. And that is true 1 through 3. Even 3 with all of its flaws, you still see that responsibility come through for Peter Parker.
I was going to say, though, Ken, I didn't quite go the same.
He's not thinking moral crisis like that. He's like...
Yeah, I did moral
But that's
crisis
just like
as
an
in,
internal code.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and that'd be moral code for me, whereas I went with moral crisis, like the thing that drove them, like a dilemma, essentially, a moral dilemma. And I think that I gave number 3 to Holland because, like you said, his moral dilemma was essentially,
I want to be an Avenger.
I want to play with the big boys, but I'm not quite ready, but I want to, which I get. I get the little brother syndrome. It's understandable. It's relatable. My number 2 went to Garfield because I feel like he never really seemed to struggle morally with being Spider-Man.
His thing is he felt guilty, like once again borrowed. He wanted to get revenge on the guy that killed his uncle.
With the star tattoo, yeah.
Yes.
And I do like that as kind of his first motivation. And it's not until he saves the people in the fire that he realizes, oh, I can be a hero.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was fine. But actually, my number 1 is Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2 with the I can't do it all dilemma.
Okay.
I love that. And that's one of my most relatable moments in the entire Spider-Man franchise is when he's like, school, work, girl, being a hero. Like, I can't juggle all these things. Something's got to give.
And he drops the girl.
He drops the girl and he drops
Kind of like in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
He grabbed onto her real quick.
Oh.
But yeah, Spider-Man 2, that moral dilemma, I think that hit all the right notes. And it's one of the reasons I think that Spider-Man is the highest rated. Spider-Man 2 is the highest rated on Rotten Tomatoes with a 94%.
And the fact that in Spider-Man 2 he lost his powers because he kind of lost that drive. He no longer felt he was the hero, and so his powers were just kind of whisked away.
Yeah.
Magically, and then kind of came back when he realized he could do it.
Which is total comic book. Like that's textbook comic book kind of stuff where it's like your powers can come and go depending if you believe in yourself or not. But it works.
Yes.
So yeah, there's mine.
Okay. All right, next category is best costume.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Who wore it best, boys?
So my number 3 is Andrew Garfield. I feel like his suit was a mess. In
Did
fact,
you guys even pay attention to this?
Yes,
I did.
Okay.
I almost brought pictures for you, actually.
Well, I have to sew each one when I see it on screen, and so I was a little harder with that one.
What?
No, but I thought Andrew Garfield's looked like he was wearing a basketball, and I didn't like the colors.
It was based off the Spalding basketball.
It was, and I didn't like the look of it. I didn't like the colors. I thought they were all kind of weird. They didn't quite fit. And the elongated spider, yeah, it looks cool, spray painted on the side of a wall and on a Hot Topic T-shirt. But I like the concise Spider-Man logo on the chest.
So you like Holland?
Holland's my number 2, and it's because I like that he didn't make his suit. This sounds weird, I know. But with Peter Parker, the problem I have with a lot of
What about his
superheroes
homemade
is
suit?
they give him every power. It's like, oh, he's super smart. Oh, he's
can
an
knit.
engineer. He's a science. He can knit. He can. It's like he has everything. So I kind of like that in Spider-Man: Homecoming. They said, no, Tony Stark made the suit. You have your sweats, but then we have, which the sweats were totally believable. But then Tony Stark comes in and says, let me give you this enhanced suit. I like how it kind of, contracts to his body.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool little touch. And the tech stuff, okay. But my number 1 goes to Tobey Maguire and the original Spider-Man suit because
It's original.
it was original. And granted, he did make it himself. And there's the whole, him sketching it out and sewing it scene and stuff like that, which is a little corny. But man, when he appeared as Spider-Man, I looked at it and thought, that is Spider-Man. That is what I imagined Spider-Man to be. And as he went on, even with the Venom suit, I think it...
The Venom suit was cool. The black suit Spider-Man
black suit Spider-Man,
was
yes,
cool.
I should say. That was cool. And so that's my number 1 is Tobey Maguire in the original Spider-Man franchise.
All right.
I think the weakest one is the one that Spider-Man didn't actually make. Yes, it's silly in each of those first series that he's making his own costume. It's kind of ridiculous. But I actually hate that Tony Stark made the Spider-Man suit because it doesn't give any character to Peter Parker or earning his own right to be a superhero.
Or earning his sewing merit badge.
Or you eat that. But the fact that there's a drone there's a Jarvis in his head, I honestly, the eyes thing really kind of bugs me. I know it's a Steve Ditko design, and that's fine for nerds, but it's a little too motorized for me.
I was going to say in Homecoming, it was kind of weird how when he went back, spoiler alert for... No, I guess...
Yes, that his goggles moved anyways.
Yeah, it's not a spoiler because, his original suit, his goggles moved. And I thought that was only Tony Stark's suit.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Like,
What's with that?
Movie. They're like, climax of the movie, let's just end this.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey.
Exactly, because that gives him character. I thought the suit looks very cartoonish, and so I think it's easily the weakest one. What's that?
How dare a cartoon look cartoonish?
No,
How dare a comic book look cartoonish? I know,
I'd
but
give it some realism. I mean, it really looked like bad CG that hadn't been rendered.
You think so?
Yes.
I liked it.
For me, I think, and I hate to say this, Tobey Maguire's is second place.
Second place.
I love the classic look. I love the black suit look.
He's going to give it to Garfield again.
Andrew Garfield
loves Garfield.
has the sleekest look, and it looks awesome.
Oh, right, Kent?
Wait, hold on. Do that again. You mean,
There it is.
No, he's doing the Garfield growl. It's a different one.
lasagna. But I think Andrew
I
Garfield.
thought we were going to get through a whole show and not make a Garfield joke.
Yeah. Hey, Jerry Maguire, show me the money.
Show me.
We just need one for
But
Holland.
I
Oh, no, we have one for Holland, the country.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield, best Spider-Man poses in the best Spider-Man suit. It is the sleekest looking Spider-Man suit, and he can actually pull off kind of looking like a spider because he's pretty lanky as well. And it just looks the coolest.
Like a basketball.
I want to see one of them actually become a spider, a giant, terrifying
That happens
spider.
in the comic books.
That actually happens in Lost in Space.
Best costume for me, Andrew Garfield.
All right. Next category is best use of origin or best origin.
This one's not super fair because Holland gets third place again. Tony Stark created him. That said, I think we can all appreciate.
From Tony Stark's womb.
So I think we can all appreciate that there is no Uncle Ben story here, right?
Yeah.
But there's also no origin, and he's a freshman in high school. So when exactly did the spider bite happen, and how?
Yeah.
That's what we don't see. But I love the fact that it's continuation. So points for that. That it's just kind of it's a superhero story, a second act of a superhero story, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But still, Tony Stark creates him. So I think that's a pretty terrible origin.
He
That
didn't
he's just
create
lackey.
him. He gave him a suit. He gave him a
creates
suit and a
like a
mission.
month after he gets his powers. However that happened, Tony Stark's like, "Hey, here, come join me and fight these guys where you might die. And here's a suit you can keep." That's his origin.
They threw in a line in the movie about that, too. You notice that? He's like, well, I took on Captain America. He's like, yeah, if he wanted to level you, he would have.
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, sure. For me, Garfield, once again, much like the Code, it's a borrowed story. It's a borrowed origin. It's very complicated, but they tried. They tried something. It just didn't work. And they borrowed it from the Ultimate Spider-Man comic books where his parents were spies who were killed. And it was more designed that Peter would end up being Spider-Man. Even from when he was a child, they knew he'd be tested on. And that was kind of the point. It didn't work for the movies, but it is pretty good actually in the comic books. But they did try something. And obviously the best is Tobey Maguire because it's the classic origin with everything in between, getting bullied, him being an actual nerd. It's easily the best. Joel?
We're going to agree on the number one because I think the Tobey Maguire story is the story to beat. I think Cliff Robertson is Uncle Ben and that whole, I mean, that really is, it's a punch in the gut scene
is.
when it's like, oh, he let him go and he ended up killing
It's
his
a shot
uncle.
to the gut, definitely.
Hey. But I think, and then
Messed up.
even just the scene in the car with Uncle Ben trying to talk to him, and then he gets mad at him and says, he says, I know you're not your father. He's like, then stop trying. And the way he kind of just gets hurt, I'm like, ow.
Okay,
Why
Tobey
would you say
Maguire
that?
does do a great job acting in that movie.
But I'm going to disagree with you in the fact that I put Garfield at the bottom because I don't like the conspiracy stuff, and especially since it didn't get to be developed more.
You know what's funny is there's so many deleted scenes in the first Amazing Spider-Man. They created many scenes based on the conspiracy with his parents.
Yeah.
They left that on the editing room floor.
Yep.
And then in Amazing Spider-Man 2, they're like, yeah, let's throw that in.
Yeah.
And they threw it all in the second movie.
And it just doesn't work for me. The whole backstory of Richard Parker and Martha, probably.
Richard Parker Jr.?
If it's Martha, then that's
No, I think
the
it's like
Trinity
Mary
movie.
or something like that.
Yes.
But I didn't like that they made them into like more than just his parents. It was like, oh, they had so much more to do in Oscorp and everything, and then it didn't happen. I gave Holland the number 2 only because the best use of origin is the one we don't have to see again and again and again.
Okay.
Because it's like,
That's
you know
fair.
what?
The best
Let's jump
use.
right into it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So it's like, hey, we make a passing reference to he got bit by a spider. Moving on.
Did they say that even?
Yeah, he does. He says,
Okay.
so you get bit by a spider? Can I get bit by a spider? Like his buddy when he's asking him about it.
Okay.
And then number 1 I gave to Maguire. So,
Yes.
All right.
All right, next category is best display of powers. So the visual display of powers.
Okay, I gave number 3 to Holland because I
Really?
feel like his spider sense was lacking.
Well, there was none.
Yeah, it was like, does he have it? Does he not? How strong is he? Like he was even slipping as he was climbing up stuff, and I'm like, how good are his climbing abilities? And then
Why does it take him 10 minutes to climb up the Washington Monument?
Hey, that's a very tall building.
Yeah.
Still, though, he elapsed time.
How long did it take you, Jacob?
To climb it?
Yeah.
A lot less.
Good answer.
My number 2 was Garfield. I really like the POV stuff. Yes, it's obviously meant for 3D kind of an audience, but I like that POV, like feeling like I'm Spider-Man climbing along. That was a lot of fun. And then number 1 is is Maguire. Like when I watched Spider-Man for the first time and seeing him just swing through New York, it really felt like reality to me.
Especially at the end of the first two movies where they end with Spidey swinging triumphantly.
With the camera flying around and they land on a
awesome.
flagpole. I love it.
Yes.
And coming from, I watched the cartoon a ton as a kid. And I also watched the live action one. And the live action one.
Wait, the
he's like,
60s one? Which one is that?
Yeah, it's like the 60s,
fat guy in the
70s one.
suit?
No, it's the 70s one where it's
Okay.
like, it looks like Spider-Man, but he shoots like ropes.
Yeah.
But then when he climbs up the walls and it's like he's obviously being pulled up and just moving his arms up and down, it looks really cheesy. So from going from that and the cartoon to all of a sudden seeing a real life person swing through, I thought that is the Spider-Man I wanted. 2002.
For me, Holland is the worst. I'm going to agree with you there. He basically has extra strong webs and different kinds of webs.
Yep.
Based on the tech
Although the
that he
webs aren't
has.
really his power.
They're not, but it is him shooting it because he doesn't really do much else. He does this little backflip and uses a web to go through the Washington Monument.
Yep.
That's all I really cared to see. There wasn't much else except for he was really strong with the web.
Yeah.
But that was it. Easily the weakest one. The second one for me is Maguire. I did love seeing this for the first time. It's like kind of seeing Superman fly for the first time. You're like, that's really cool. The Spidey sense was great.
Going to give another number one to Garfield.
I am. I did love the triumphant web sling, but Garfield for me, I love the first person perspective. I remember when seeing the trailer for the first time, like, that's tacky. But when you see it on the big screen, I'm like, I'm Spider-Man. Like, this is how I want to feel.
Yeah, but you were wearing the outfit at the time, so it made it a lot
It's true.
easier.
And I was jumping over seats at the same
Yeah.
time.
Go,
in the
Spidey,
theater.
go!
But I love being in seeing the hand of Spidey pull towards a building and you were flying with him. For me, that was great. Just the web slinging fun, or him going on the cranes and stuff, and Spidey senses in the movie as well.
Although his Spidey sense, I didn't think was as fun as Maguire.
No, well, I mean, Maguire has the Raimi effect.
Well, and like,
with it.
yeah, like the fight scene when he's like when Flash punches past him, he like looks at his
It's
arm.
great.
That's a great moment. And then I just watched the Amazing Spider-Man, and all he really does with the Spidey sense is to grab the fly and be like, watch out, and grab a fly. And it's like, oh, I have Spidey sense. But there's no like visual representation.
I think because we've seen that before. They borrowed so much else that we didn't need to see the slow motion because that had kind of been done.
I kind of like that, though.
Next category is Best Aunt May.
I thought you were going to say Ant-Man.
And
Best-
who's the
none of
best
them.
Ant-Man?
Garfield has the worst Aunt May on this one. It's just Sally
You're
Field.
giving Garfield a third place?
I'm giving
finally?
him a third place finally.
She's giving Sally
Well, it's
Field a
'cause
third
yeah,
place.
it's not him. Yeah.
Sally Field is just play Sally Field. Concerned Sally Field.
She's not good.
She's really passive.
She's my number 3.
That would be a
Okay.
great T-shirt, wouldn't it? Concerned Sally Field.
yeah, and it's just her from the movie.
Well, and she didn't really like being in the movie or like the movie. And that kind of like
You can tell she's just sleepwalking through the whole
she
thing.
said, like they said, is this do you like the movie? She's like, no, it's not really my cup of tea. And then she said I didn't have much range as Aunt May. There's not much I could do with the character, and like she was just kind of complaining about
Even
it.
though there is, if you'd seen Spider-Man 1 through 3, you would see that there is range that you could give.
Yep.
Which is why, so Holland gets a second place because, it's Marissa Tomei. Not much is known about her character. They don't even reference that what happened to Ben. They just kind of give this passing little remark. And then she basically wears glasses to cover up how hot she is in real life.
Except for she's not, because they keep commenting on the movie how hot she is.
Yeah.
Like there's Buddy and
But they try to
restaurant
obscure
people
her at the same time visually. And then Jerry Maguire's, or
Tobey
Maguire's.
Can we just say Jerry Maguire,
Yes.
Garfield, and Holland?
Yeah.
Right.
So Rosemary Harris from Spider-Man 1 through 3,
Yes.
she becomes the Uncle Ben character, and it's actually a stronger character. She encourages Peter to fulfill his potential, much like Uncle Ben did. She plays that role perfectly.
and she's got great upper body strength.
Does she?
Don't you remember in Spider-Man 2?
Oh, in the yes.
When Doc Ock flings her up in the air and she grabs onto a ledge with an umbrella and then holds on.
It was like
to
Nathan Drake style.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. And then she holds there, and I think she ends up like even swinging off or something like that. No, she's about to slip is what it is.
There's a great scene in Spider-Man 2 when he finally tells her, look, what happened to
man.
Uncle Ben is my fault, and
And
I
he
blame
tells
myself.
her.
And she just gets up and walks away, and you're like, oh my God.
Well, the way she does it, it's not like she's like overacting either. It's just
Yeah.
like that felt so real.
It
and
it
hurts.
breaks her heart, and she almost can't even say anything because
Oh, and
Sure,
I'm
go ahead.
commenting because I'm agreeing with you completely on this one. Number 3
Okay.
is Sally Field. Number 2 is Marissa Tomei. And number 1 is Rosemary Harris.
yes.
But Rosemary Harris does have her weakest scene is the Green Goblin scene when he makes
when he
her
breaks
pray.
through the wall? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. And they shouldn't have made her do that.
No.
That was dumb. But okay, there you go. Best Aunt May.
All right. What's the cheesiest moment?
I actually had the grabbing onto the umbrella as a runner-up here because that's seeing an older woman fly up through the air and then manage to grab onto a ledge with the umbrella was a little like, okay. But if Ken and I
Mary
both
Poppins style.
if Ken and I both don't agree on cheesiest moment, we're gonna have issues.
Okay.
Because the cheesiest moment is obviously goth Peter Parker. When he dances, when he dances in the street, when he dances in the club, when he plays the piano or the trumpet or whatever he plays. What does he play?
He plays the piano.
Yeah, when he goes evil and becomes evil Peter Parker, it is so horribly cheesy.
Dig
it's
down
hard
on
to
this.
watch.
Yeah. Actually, when he was doing the walk and pointing at girls in the street, what it does is it gives a little throwback to Spider-Man 2 when it's raindrops keep falling on my head.
Yes.
And he's waving at people. And I'm like, oh, I like this. I like that he's like this emo guy, even though Tobey Maguire can never really pull that off.
No.
I'm like, that's funny. And then he starts dancing, the
Yes.
swing dancing thing. It's atrocious.
It felt to me...
It's worse than anything Electro does in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That's true. Are you going to agree it's the cheesiest moment
It's the
then?
cheesiest moment for
Okay,
sure. Up top.
All right, who had the best chemistry?
Teacher?
Yes.
Best
I want to
chemistry
know about your
teacher.
chemistry teachers. That's going to be the rest of this episode.
Once again, there's Tom Holland and Laura Harrier. She's about a foot taller than him, and he looks kind of awkward in every scene, but not because he's trying to be an awkward Peter Parker, just because he's kind of an awkward actor in this one. So they have the worst for me, Maguire and Dunst. I know there's something there. I saw it in the first movie. They really try for it in the second, but it's only second place. It's easily the two best actors in the entire franchise of Spider-Man.
Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone.
Yeah, that would be great too.
That'd have been fine.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew Garfield is basically Ryan Gosling.
I'm going to agree with you, James, only because I agree. I agree with you that the first Spider-Man movie, there was something between Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. And the second one, it wasn't there.
Because they almost force him not to be together, like that is his character.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they lose something there between the two actors.
But at the same time, I love it at the end of 2 when she finally says,
Hey, Tiger.
let me make the decision. Then when she says Tiger,
Yeah.
which if you don't know, that's in the comics, it's what she calls him. So when she called him that, I actually did kind of give a little cheer, yay. But yeah, and I think I gave
Do that again?
Cheer, yay. I gave the number one spot to Garfield and Stone only because their chemistry was real.
For me, if you had taken the Green Goblin's son out of Amazing Spider-Man 2, if you'd taken Electro out of Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it was just a love story about Gwen Stacy possibly going to England, that would have been a great movie for me. It would not have been a superhero movie, but those two are so great together in any movie.
It's true. It could have
Until they
worked.
broke up.
I would have loved a simple movie.
They broke up.
What?
Yeah, they're no longer together.
So I can get married to Emma Stone. Is that what you're saying?
So you're saying there's a chance.
But I would
just
love to see
quoted
them.
Dumb and Dumber on Baconsale.
I think they carry the movie and they make a pretty dismal performance by an actor like Jamie Foxx and make it a somewhat watchable movie.
True. Their banter is probably the best parts of those
Yes.
movies.
All right, trailing on that, best character who is not Spider-Man.
Joel, I think we should agree on this one. I really hope we do.
Go for it.
It's J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
entire
Right.
series. He's better than Spider-Man.
He chews the scenery and spits it out and then chews it again. The guy loves his role.
He is so good that even in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and I bet he's even rumored to be in the upcoming Spider-Man series, they wanted to use him in every one of these franchises.
Because they said we couldn't replace him. They said we can't get another. What I just blanked on his name. Help
J.K.
me.
Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
Yes.
I can't. It's because it's J. Jonah.
Give me
Jameson.
photos of Spider-Man.
He's a menace.
It's so good.
And I love how they do the scenes too. Just how Sam Raimi's brother, I can't remember his name either.
Ted.
Ted Raimi.
Yes.
How he just pops into scenes all the time, and they actually make a running joke of it, where he just kind of appears like he's been standing in the corner the whole time, and it's hilarious. But J. Jonah Jameson is my number one pick as well. I thought he was great. I did give honorable mention to Bruce Campbell. I like his character.
So good.
How it
He plays a different role in
each
everyone.
movie. He's a different role, but he's always like this foil for Peter Parker. And I did give an honorable mention to Ned from Spider-Man: Homecoming. Because
Ned.
as a newcomer,
Yeah, right, yeah.
As a newcomer, I thought, all right, kid, way to go.
I kind of like George Stacy. What's
Oh, Dennis Leary.
I like Dennis Leary in Amazing Spider-Man 1. I don't like Ghost Dennis Leary, but I do. I think he's actually a decent actor in the first Amazing Spider-Man.
Well, and that was actually a good moral dilemma. Talking about that from before,
Right.
how Dennis Leary on his deathbed says, "Don't date my daughter."
Right, because
And
whoever
then
you
he-
date ends up dead, or whoever you're close to ends up dead.
Yeah, but then he obeys that for 20 minutes. No, not even that, like 10 minutes.
And look what happened
no,
to Gwen
5 minutes.
Stacy.
Yeah.
Hey.
Who's next?
Who'd win in a fight?
Between the three Spider-Men?
Between the three Spider-Mans, who was going to win?
Well, okay. My number 3 is Garfield. Andrew Garfield.
Because he's too busy talking to Emma Stone.
Because he's basically
too.
a punching bag. When you look at the Spider-Man movies,
He gets beat
his
up a
main
lot.
purpose is he gets beat up. Like he comes home bruised and bloodied every day. And I don't think he's as good of a fighter. I'm going to give number 2 to Holland because I feel like he would be able to use his suit, like the taser webs and stuff like that.
He's got a fancy suit.
And he'd be able to get the upper hand. But I think number 1 who would win would be Tobey Maguire because he actually killed a dude, unlike all these other guys. If you recall, in Spider-Man 1,
Actually killed a dude.
he cold-hearted shoves that the criminal out the window that killed Uncle Ben,
Yeah.
and kills him. None of the other Spider-Men had the guts to do that, and so I think Tobey Maguire has.
You may have changed my mind on this one because I went Garfield he's third place because he has a quick wit, but that's pretty much it. Maguire, I gave second place only without the black suit because with the black suit, he'd be unstoppable.
Yeah.
But he's a good fighter, but I think Holland with all of the gadgets.
The gadgets, yeah.
I think the gadgets would save him. Even though he's probably not a seasoned fighter or a straight-up killer like Tobey Maguire. But I think the gadgets from Tony Stark would help him win because there's so many different varieties of web.
After one more sequel, I think that would probably be an easier case to make, too.
Yeah.
Like after the next movie.
Right. Is he going to kill a dude?
He'll probably kill the dude.
I hope he kills Happy Hogan.
Oh,
I don't need to see him for 40 minutes in a movie again.
He webs his face, suffocates him.
Co-starring the director of Jungle Book. Yay!
And Iron Man, the director of Iron
And
Man.
Zathura.
You have him to thank for all this Marvel nonsense. Maybe that's
I
why
really
that's
do.
why you want him to die.
That's probably why.
Okay, which one had the best humor?
And we kind of got into this before, Kent, so we don't have to go too much into it, right?
Nope. For me, it's Garfield. There's a lot of accidental fights, and that's kind of where the humor comes from. Maguire has second place. Spider-Man 2 is full of lighthearted whimsy, and it's a perfectly paced movie, and it's just fun. But the best humor is Tom Holland's Spider-Man: Homecoming.
You gave Tom Holland 1 and Garfield number 3.
Yeah, I did it on the other one too with fighting. Who'd win in a fight?
Oh,
It's true.
No,
Yeah.
and
He's mixed it up a little.
I put the same on this. I put Garfield as I like the there's some banter there. Like I said, Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield. I think they have good banter. Mm-hmm. But yeah, not as funny. Jerry Maguire. Gosh dang.
Just own it now. Just do it. Just do it on purpose.
Tobey Maguire. I think that they have a lot of the comic book kind of cheesy humor, which is fun. But I laughed more in Spider-Man: Homecoming than I did in any of the other movies. So we agree.
All right, next category is, and this is kind of a double one. We're going to do the best Peter Parker and then the best Spider-Man.
Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so I don't think we're going to agree on a lot of these. Let's go with Peter Parker. Because I gave my number 3 on Peter Parker to Andrew Garfield.
You hate Andrew Garfield.
I don't hate Andrew Garfield. But
How many times have you seen those movies? Like twice?
Yeah,
Maybe
2 or
each?
3 times maybe.
Okay.
But watching those in a row, where I watched Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2 in one day. And then the next day I watched Amazing Spider-Man. And the contrast was just amazing about how boring the Garfield movies really were. Can't somebody say dark and gritty. I say boring, just for the record.
I wouldn't say dark and gritty at all.
Since you're doing the stenography over there. But I gave 3 to Garfield because he wasn't a nerd. He wasn't the Peter Parker I wanted. He was, this cool skater kid that, was kind of just misunderstood, and his tousled up hair and all that. He wasn't a nerd.
Ooh, tousled hair.
Yeah. I actually gave number 2 to Tobey Maguire because he felt like an adult trying to play a high school kid.
Unreal.
And I gave the number 1 to Tom Holland just tonight because I was really impressed with him as a kid. Like, he felt like a kid who cared about Homecoming, who cared about girls, who cared about his reputation.
He does seem the youngest. I mean,
he felt like a kid.
You're right. He does seem the youngest because he is the youngest. That is a fact.
But I this went back and forth, and it wasn't until I got here tonight to record that I finally flipped him. Because I had Tobey Maguire's number 1, but it went to Tom Holland tonight.
They could have named Tom Holland's character in the movie John Harrison, which is actually Khan's name in Star Trek Into Darkness, because he could have been playing any character. To me, he was never once Peter Parker. He was young and experienced with full of optimism, but that was basically it. He never felt like Peter Parker. Mostly because maybe I've seen Peter Parker played twice and 2 times better. For me, Andrew Garfield gets the second best Peter Parker because he's not the nerd. It's kind of this new hipster kind of cool sort of vibe.
That's what
But what once was geeky actually makes you cool now, and this is true everywhere. Like,
What
geek
isn't
culture,
geeky makes you stronger.
exactly. Geek culture is actually kind of cool now. Being hipster Whereas like 20 years ago,
That's what we like to believe.
yeah, well, exactly.
Well, it's more mainstream than cool.
Cool
It's
Boy
just
podcast,
regular.
right?
Well, considering how many superhero movies there are these days,
Right.
I think it's gone full mainstream.
But I do think because Garfield played two different roles, and I think you disagree on this one, between Peter Parker and Spider-Man, it felt like two different characters, whereas I think the other two suffer with that. Maybe not. Maybe don't disagree. But I think Tobey Maguire
There you go.
is the archetype of high school nerd, and that's kind of what we know from the comic, so it is true to the comic. And so he is the best Peter Parker.
And I'm not going to disagree with you strongly on that because he was my number one.
Right.
And I may change my mind.
I think Holland is new to you. It's kind of new and flashy.
I just felt like he
at this
really
point.
did feel like a kid to me. Like
He was a kid.
I know.
I mean,
you're-
that's a fact. He's a literal kid.
Yeah, but I know that you're married to the fact that, well, he wasn't, in high school the whole time, and only 30 of the 700 comics that I own in my bedroom right now. But I felt like he was the most vulnerable, and it didn't feel like an adult playing a kid. It felt like a kid who got these powers and didn't know what to do with them.
But he's a
He
kid
was
that
22?
literally never changes his voice, and that's what I don't like about actually Maguire and Holland. This leads right into the next category with Best Spider-Man. They both never change their voice.
Does Andrew Garfield change his voice?
Slightly, he does, and he acts different.
I don't think so.
No, he does.
I didn't get that vibe.
I remember that.
Thank you very much, Jake.
I just watched it yesterday.
Because I mean, like with Spider-Man,
You need to work on your memory then.
I know.
That is how the villain in Spider-Man Homecoming kind of catches on to the whole thing, because it's like, oh, same exact voice. Kid has the same exact sort of height. Okay, I get it. So for me, the best Spider-Man is, well, the third best is Holland. He's having a blast.
He turned 22 a month ago.
So he's having a blast as Spider-Man, but he's still a blank slate. I think with sequels to come, he could be a way better Spider-Man. I just didn't feel the weight of the character. Tobey Maguire is the second best Spider-Man because, you know why? I think he's great, but he always took the mask off. And this is why I have an issue with comic book movies where they generally have a mask.
Yeah.
He is rarely ever wearing the mask, unless it's
Tobey
the CG.
Maguire?
Yes.
What?
In CG scenes where he's swinging, he's wearing the mask, but then he always takes it off or it gets burned off.
Well, but I love the scene when his mask comes off with the train.
We'll get into that.
And they give it
It's
back
it's
to
great.
him.
I know. And then for me, Garfield, he made it look like a blast to be Spider-Man because of the pure athleticism of it and swinging through the city.
I was just doing the math about how old Tobey Maguire was when he played Spider-Man. I think
How old was he?
He was born in 1975. The movie was 2002, so that's 27.
Whoa, no. Really?
Is it?
No.
Five?
No.
Yeah, he was 27. He had to be 27, right? 1975 to 2002. Someone do math.
Yes. But he probably filmed in 2000.
Yeah, probably, but still, he was much older.
Yeah, he was.
Yep, quite a bit.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire is
Joel.
kind of like Webster.
Okay. So my best Spider-Man, my number 3 is Garfield. I don't think he really struck me. I mean, he looked like gangly like a Spider-Man type thing, but he always felt too tall, and I don't know. He just didn't strike me as a good Spider-Man. Well, I should say good. He wasn't a great Spider-Man because I did enjoy that movie. It got like 3 stars. But then I got to give number 2 to Holland because he was the kid Spider-Man who was kind of inexperienced, didn't really know what he's doing, but trying to discover his powers. But the number 1 obviously is
Tobey.
Tobey Maguire.
Wow. That
I
was
could not get it out. Tobey Maguire, and I think that he...
Oh, right, Jerry Maguire, right.
He was Spider-Man enjoying being Spider-Man, and you got to see it in every movie, him enjoying being Spider-Man and being the quippy kind of Spider-Man that I've grown to love. So, number 1, we both agree?
No.
Maguire? You said Garfield?
Because I actually think Tobey Maguire is the same character in and out of costume. Andrew Garfield was a different character in and out of costume.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I still didn't see that.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe I'll watch it again.
Was the best villain mayhem scene?
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, and I just gave... This is a one-answer one. We're not ranking these.
Right.
I gave this one to the scene when Dr. Octopus awakens. Because, man, that has such an Evil Dead feeling to it. It is so much fun. So, for those of you who haven't seen it, Dr. Octopus, Dr. Octavius, is laying on this table, and they're going to surgically remove the arms from his back. And when they start, the arms become sentient and start attacking them. And it feels like a horror movie. Like they're being dragged across the floor with their fingernails scraping the floor up. They're being thrown around the room. It's all very quick cuts. There's not
One
any coming-
grabs a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Really reminiscent of Evil Dead.
Totally Evil Dead.
I don't remember that.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
much fun to watch. And yet, surprisingly not bloody. Like, I remember it being a bloody scene.
Yeah.
But watching it again, I was like, wow, that was really not bloody. So I don't feel as bad scarring my kids with this. They were more scared
Right.
of the lizard, honestly. But
I actually completely agree with you. I think a close runner-up would be any scene with Willem Dafoe. Because whether he's talking to himself in a mirror or when he first jumps out of that tube and he goes...
Yeah.
He does. I'm like, Willem Dafoe is just creepy. He didn't need the Power Rangers costume in that movie because he's Willem Dafoe.
He is. And I love that scene when he comes flying in and throws that first bomb at the balcony and like turns those guys into skeletons just like that.
Yep.
It's a great mayhem scene too. If it weren't for Macy Gray's cameo, I would love that scene even more. Because you know how much I love cameos by musicians in movies.
Yeah. I try to walk away and I stop.
Don't make him act. Don't make him act. Don't give him any lines. Please stop.
She was in Fuller House, the reboot. Macy Gray.
Another reason I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Next category is, let's do most emotional moment.
Tom Holland has the third most emotional moment, and that is realizing that Jon Favreau deserves top billing for this movie. I felt emotional and a little bit sick.
Oh,
that Jon Favreau should have been on the poster of Spider-Man Homecoming for some reason.
That's terrible.
Little tacky. The second one is Tobey Maguire. Actually gets the second most. Well, this is actually a tie for me. I want to call this a tie because when he stops the train,
that's a great moment.
Oh man, if even thinking about it, like
Spider-Man 2, like because he tries his hardest to stop this train. He passes out. They pick him up, and then he has his mask off, and he gets all worried about it. And they give it back to him. It's like, don't worry, we won't tell. And I'm like, oh.
Because, you know, when you see a hero without their mask, you're like, oh, great, now everyone knows that it's this guy.
Yeah.
But they backed him up. And even when Doc Ock comes back, by the way, Jake Dr. Octopus is a Spider-Man villain.
He has mechanical arms.
Yeah, mechanical arms.
Peculiar.
Yeah, right? But he says, get out of the way, I want the kid. And they stand there until he literally pushes them out the window.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great scene. But the most emotional moment, and everyone knew this was coming because it's the movie with
I want the 30-year-old kid.
The new Green Goblin, and it has Gwen Stacy.
I knew it was going to be this part.
Is the neck breaking? It was so
back-breaking.
The back, actually, it was her head broke because her head hit.
I thought it was her back breaks in the comics. I'm pretty sure
in the comics they do, but in the
I
movie,
thought it was like mid back
head
spine.
drops.
Like
he picks up. Well, who knows?
She's decapitated. Is that what you're saying?
No. That would have been even worse. Everyone knew this was coming, but even when it happened, it was so graphic and sudden that it was awful. It's like, you know, he tried to do everything he could to lift her up and to save her, and he couldn't do it. And then the ending was kind of fumbled after that, but I did think it was a very, very emotional moment, and I hated to see Emma Stone leave the franchise because at that time, I thought there would be a third one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Shailene Woodley was supposed to play Mary Jane in the third one.
Oh, gosh, that would have been terrible.
Well, they got Gwen
She's so
Stacy
dry.
in Spider-Man 3 with...
it was so stupid. Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yes. Yeah. That was weird. I actually didn't give any to the Holland movies.
Right.
I gave number 3 to Spider-Man 2 when Tobey Maguire confesses what he did to Aunt May.
Great.
Because, man, that got me in the gut. I did give number 2 to Gwen Stacy's death because Andrew Garfield plays that out so well that it's like, this is hard to watch. Mm-hmm. But number 1 I gave to was Uncle Ben's death in Tobey Maguire's
I didn't even
movie.
mention that one.
Because when he
Heartless
realizes Uncle Ben is on the ground, and when he goes up to him and like is apologizing, and he realizes that he caused this, it's heartbreaking, and it's become a meme. Like Tobey Maguire's ugly cry face, that scene is a meme now, but it's really is a gut punch, especially since Cliff Robertson is such a good Uncle Ben.
Yeah, he is.
Also, I love as corny as it is, because Spider-Man was being filmed around the time the two towers were attacked, and they actually had promos with, you know, Spider-Man sitting on a web between the two towers, and
he stopped a helicopter in between the two towers
with the web.
Yeah.
And so it was the twin towers and the reflection of his eyes. It was another poster, and they ended up having to remove those scenes, remove the promotions because of what happened on 9/11. But they wanted to kind of do something to show the spirit of New York in this movie, and that's why at the end, all those New Yorkers start throwing stuff at the Green Goblin, saying, "You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us." And this great unified moment, but didn't make my list, but it came darn close.
Okay.
What is the best fight?
I don't think Garfield has that many good fights. There's that.
You don't like the
I don't like him and Odie when they fight.
The raindrops falling on my head song?
No, but
that's not it.
That was Maguire.
Yes, Maguire.
No, Garfield has that one funny moment when him and the lizard are fighting, and Stan Lee's in the foreground. He doesn't notice anything that's going on, but overall, his fights are mostly CGI and mostly forgettable.
Joel, mostly CGI.
Number 2,
all these movies are CGI. There's nothing real happening here.
Number 2 is Doc Ock and Spider-Man.
Who?
On either the bank fight or the train fight. I can't remember if they blended into one or other right now, but those are the two I was kind of dancing around. I like those. The train fight in particular was really, really good, and it has that end train. But Skent's going to hate it. I gave the number 1 to Tom Holland, and the airport fight. because dang it.
Oh, in Civil War.
The Civil War fight.
Oh, I didn't even think about that one.
That's
fun.
funny.
And out of all the movies I went, that was just the best fight to see him, jump in, do his thing, kind of swing around. And then everyone else is there too. So it's kind of cheating, but I gave that one to Tom Holland.
See, I didn't think about that one. That's a great choice, though.
Thank you.
I gave Maguire the third place for the Sandman fight, which I actually think is really cool in Spider-Man 3.
You know they used an amputee for that?
What?
Well, the part when he punches him through the gut,
Yeah.
they got a person without a hand.
What, the weird?
So they can make it look realer, like with the way they move and stuff
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
But it's actually a cool fight, and they kind of end up in the sewer and everything like that. But it's
The turtles are there.
exactly. Joel got really upset. But it's a very cool fight, and it's the Black Suit Spider-Man and Sandman, and it's very cool to watch. Also, I gave Holland the second place, though, for the plane fight when he's wearing the more normal hoodie costume.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty dynamic to watch. And they
It
had
was,
like
actually.
everything with the plane,
Yeah.
and it was all kind of
Yeah.
disco tech
Yeah.
sort of thing going on. But visually, it was really cool. And then I think the best one, and you did mention this, is the lizard fight in the high school with Andrew Garfield. Because
Wait, you gave
Spider-Man,
Garfield a number one spot?
I know, crazy, right?
What?
No, I want you to watch this scene. It's about 4 minutes long.
watched it.
And it has the best Stan Lee cameo in any Marvel movie because he's actually fighting like a spider would. He is jumping around the lizard. He's crawling on the ceiling, and they have a small space to do it. And it's really, really fun to watch.
It was fun.
It's like 4 minutes, and it is the best choreographed scene in any of these movies.
And I did rewind the part with Stan Lee because I thought that was
Wasn't that
pretty
cool?
entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys vote? Mechanical or biological web shooters?
I think true fans would say mechanical. They would say that he...
Way to poison the well, Kent.
I'm saying organic. I think that Spider-Man, a kid, it's hard enough to believe that he's making his own awesome suit. And the fact that he can now have chemistry compounds to create this amazing web, or the fact that Tony Stark gave them to him or whatnot.
Or that you got him from Oscorp.
Exactly. I like organic because for me, if you get bit by a radioactive spider, that you should get all spider powers. And I'm not saying
Yeah,
you should
that's true.
shoot spiderweb out your
You should suck
Your
people
bum?
dry too.
because that's what spiders do. But I think you should actually get, other than like a spidey sense and being able to crawl on walls and maybe you're a little bit stronger, you should get the web as well. Why is that so hard to believe that you would get web as well? So for me, I'm an organic guy.
Especially if it's out of the butt.
Joel?
Weird. I thought for sure you go mechanical because you're a diehard comic
I know it's
book
true.
kid.
It's true, but I actually like, after rewatching these, because I think I was like, yeah, I'm a true fan or whatever. After rewatching, I'm like, I like Tobey's the best.
But that was a big controversy where like, what, they made his webs biological.
Yeah.
That's not how the comics are, and da. And how is he supposed to run out of webs because he does in the comics a lot. But I completely agree with
Yes. Because don't you love, and I don't mean to speak for you, which I always try to do anyways, but he has the discovery of how to shoot web.
Yeah.
Right? And he does the rock
Fly.
bomb. Right.
Shazam.
And then in Spider-Man 2, he loses that ability.
He has web tile dysfunction.
Oh,
Nice.
that's worse than what I said.
Yeah. Okay, good.
No, because I agree. I agree with you 100% that it was always a little bridge too far for me that he's like, not only is he really good at, science, this sciencey stuff, but also engineering, like chemistry, engineering, and everything. He's just great at everything, and he can create these web shooters that modern, industry is not able to create, and he's able to create it in his bedroom.
Yeah.
Whereas the biological shooter is just like, this is just part of his powers. He's got to learn how to use.
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed it. I had no problem with it.
Next question. Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy? And you can bring in the comics.
Is this who we like or who Kent wants to marry?
Both.
Who do you prefer?
I'm a Mary Jane purist. I'm not going to deny that. I know Gwen Stacy was the first one in the comics. Yes, I know that. I've read the comic. But Mary Jane is his one true love, and I like her in the movies. Every time she shows up, almost every time she shows up, I should say. Yeah, so Mary Jane. I'm just going to say
Mary Jane.
Simple, easy.
All right, Kent.
I have to go with history, and he spent probably 50 years with Mary Jane, and so it's easily Mary Jane.
He married a robot Mary Jane.
I know there's so many weird stories in Spider-Man. He gave up Mary Jane to the devil to save Aunt May.
Yep.
Like it's
So he doesn't
the
like her.
comics actually get really stupid.
They do.
But Mary Jane is the winner here, even though Gwen Stacy does have that weight there. It's almost a Batman moment when she dies in the comics, and it does help kind of craft who he is as a hero.
And also teaches him, about web tensile strength and things like that. How much is too much before you break a back or a neck or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And bungee jumping rules and stuff like that.
It's good to have boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. In life and in dating.
Sometimes you have to learn.
Yeah,
And he learned
yeah.
through Gwen Stacy.
He did.
Yeah, but it's Mary Jane.
All right. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
It's the last category.
Dun, dun, dun.
I want to hear what is the best movie overall.
Oh, wow. Did we have that on here?
Can
there
you,
it is. Yeah,
can you
okay,
not
yeah,
think
yeah,
of
we have it. Yeah.
Jake,
Okay.
let's ask you first. What's the best movie in this series? Since you did see Homecoming.
Yeah.
And I know you. Do you remember the Amazing Spider-Man movies very well?
I remember Amazing Spider-Man pretty well. I mean,
How
I
many
think
people do?
I saw the second one with you, maybe the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. However, the Jerry Maguire ones, it's been a long time, honestly. It's been a long time. So I'm not sure it'd be fair. I didn't love any of them. So
Why don't you not marry them then?
I won't. I won't. The best one, I don't know. I don't.
Wait, you don't really care all
gonna
that much
abstain?
for any portrayal then, right?
No.
You're abstaining from voting?
I don't.
Would you
yeah.
even say the first one because that's the first one you saw? Kind of put Spider-Man in your...
I need to go. In fact, I've been thinking this the whole time we've been talking. Is I need to go back and watch the first trilogy again, just to.
I own the 2-pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought it so I didn't have to have the 3-pack.
Kent is literally handing it to me. Okay.
Put it in the case first, man.
I know. They're all over the place. I've been having a marathon lately.
DVDs.
I know.
Oh,
by
my
the
grandma
way,
used to tell me about those.
Isn't it weird? I've been watching DVDs lately because
Yeah.
these are the copies I own, and they're actually not great quality. Like they're really grainy, and I was like,
No, they're not even like 480p. They suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, DVDs are crap.
Anyway.
I thought they were the future back
I
in
can
the
talk
day.
about that.
whole other bacon
It's been
bit.
too long. I'm going to have to abstain. It wouldn't be fair. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. Can you want to go
For
top
me,
3?
it's-
Are you doing
it's-
top 3 or are you doing...
No, just the number one.
I've got top 3 if you want to do top 3. When else are we going to talk about this?
Oh, okay. Well,
Let's do
I'm
it.
sure we can make another show out of this somehow.
Probably so.
My number 3, it's not going to be a surprise to anyone based on my votes tonight, and I would like to give a little bit of time to Spider-Man Homecoming to be fair, because I did like it. It's Amazing Spider-Man. I like seeing this reinvention.
Not one, not two.
That's his 3.
This is number 3.
Then we're going to be pretty close.
Okay.
You're really close after that. I thought this was a cool version that was definitely darker than the first two, but I am glad because it wasn't Raimi, and only Raimi can do Raimi, even though he kind of echoed Burton at times, Tim Burton's Batman movies.
A little bit.
But I like Mark Webb's version. I wish it continued better from there. Exactly.
No. We
Yes.
watched Amazing Spider-Man, and the credits came up, and it said directed by Mark Webb, and my 7-year-old son went, Webb, I get it.
Right.
He thought he was hired
Like that
because
was a
of his
joke.
name.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually feel bad for Mark Webb, who did 500 Days of Summer, that he was kind of pigeonholed to do a studio movie. And
Yeah, I feel bad
anyways.
he had to make 500 Days of Summer, too.
Oh, I love that movie. And then I think number 2 is Spider-Man 1.
500 Days of Summer or La La Land, go.
500 Days of Summer.
What?
Blasphemy!
I know, I'm so sorry.
I'm with you.
That's terrible.
I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, go ahead. You said... Sorry.
Yeah, La La Land is my second greatest Spider-Man film because Emma Stone is fantastic.
All right, so Amazing Spider-Man
Spider-Man
3.
1 is the second best Spider-Man movie. It would be higher, but the Power Rangers Green Goblin version
You
of
give
that
number one to
character,
Tom Holland, probably.
number 1 is Spider-Man 2. It is probably my second favorite comic book movie ever made.
Number 1 being Batman v Superman or Batman 1 being Dark Knight?
Dark Knight.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. He got so scared. What would you have done? What would you have done?
Punched you in the face.
He's-
I would
got
have
up
let you
and
punch me in the
left.
face. Actually, I almost can't call Dark Knight a superhero comic book movie because it's just a crime drama, but that's a whole nother show.
Yeah. Ken, I'm mostly going to agree with you. In fact, I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 because my number 1 is Spider-Man 2. It is probably...
Wait, that's your top one?
That's my top one, yeah.
Okay.
Because we're going to agree on that one. I think it's a fantastic movie. It's so well done. It balances the Peter Parker aspect and the Spider-Man
Yes.
aspect in a way that's not usually done in superhero movies. Usually there's an imbalance there. Number 2, I've got to give to the original Spider-Man because it was the original, barring X-Men, but really Spider-Man feels like the original superhero blockbuster movie. I mean, it was the first film to gross $100 million its opening weekend.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's so commonplace
At the
now.
time, no movie had done so, even when adjusted for inflation.
Wow.
It was a blockbuster, and I remember waiting in line to go see Spider-Man, and I had a Spider-Man shirt on and everything.
It was the second movie I saw when I got back from my mission.
Oh, yeah?
The first being Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Hey.
I know. I was like, hey, I missed these. And
Yeah,
then
they're good.
I was immediately disappointed and then immediately happy.
I'm pretty sure my first one was Sixth Sense.
Oh, okay, great. There you go.
And then my number 3 is actually going to go to Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
It impressed me so much tonight as I saw it that I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And Amazing Spider-Man would be my number 4. Mm-hmm. That would round out the top 4, but it's not. It's no slouch.
What's the worst one?
I don't know because I didn't watch them recently, and in my mind, Spider-Man 3 is worse. But I want to watch that one more than I do Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I want to see the cheese.
That almost feels like it's a Batman and Robin sort of thing where you can rewatch Batman and Robin. Yes, because it's the worst one.
Yeah,
it is the worst. I mean, Jamie Foxx is. Yeah, Jamie Foxx is near unwatchable, but there's so many good elements with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone that they salvaged the movie.
Well, I'll have to watch them again because I still need to watch those two. But there we go.
All right.
We've declared it. It is law.
Spider-Man 2 wins.
Yay!
Yay!
I mean, deservedly so.
Deservedly. Okay, I guess I need to go back and watch. So
you should.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen them out there, listener, please, by all means, watch the Spider movies. They're a lot of fun.
All right.
Okay. But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter. You can also find me performing at Quick Wits. They perform every Saturday night at the Midvale Performing Arts Center. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quick Wits Facebook page.
If you want to find me on Twitter and Instagram, it's at Kenny3DD. If you want to read my Spider-Man review, it's at ShowtimeShowdown.com. And guess what, guys? I think I'm going to be on TV again.
Yay!
So I'll let you know in the next couple weeks.
Let us know. You can find me on Twitter at Jacob A. Rogers. Find Baconsale on Twitter at Baconsale. It's a lot of fun. If you're not on Twitter, it's a reason to join all by itself.
Nice sell.
Thank you. And in the meantime, a little word from Doc Ock.
Who is?
You suck your webs into my business for the last time, Spider-Man.
Okay. Party people in the house.
All right.
Party people in the house.
Party people. Sometime crazy come pushing up days of the underground sound. You have found amazing, outstanding, demanding, commanding you people dancing. Woo, woo. Here's a shovel. Can you dig it, fool?
Spider-Man's a jerk.
What a jerk. Let's cancel this show.
Canceled.
And they say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand in your way.
Yep.
Jeremy's broken.
Vindicated, I am selfish, I am wrong, I am right, I swear I'm right, swear I knew it all along, and I am fine. But I am cleaning up so well. I am seeing in me now the things you swore you saw yourself.
Some people
face.
have an ugly cry face.
All around.
It's
all
really
around.
ugly.
All right.
Were they on a break?
That's usually what I do.
Yeah.
You insensitive jerk.
The unforgettable Liz.
I like Emma Stone. Kent?
I love Emma Stone. Same.
Marry her.
I would like to. Not choice, responsibility. And he drops the girl.
He drops the girl and he drops
Kind of like in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Who wore it best, boys?
It's fine for nerds, and it looks awesome.
Oh, right, Kent?
Wait, hold on. Do that again. You mean,
There it is.
No, he's doing the Garfield growl. It's a different one.
lasagna. I'm Spider-Man. Like, this is how I want to feel.
That is the Spider-Man I wanted.
From Tony Stark's womb. I want to know about your chemistry teachers.
She basically wears glasses to cover up how hot she is in real life. She plays that role perfectly.
And she's got great upper body strength. Kent, they broke up.
What?
Yeah, they're no longer together.
So I can get married to Emma Stone. Is that what you're saying? Cheer, yay!
So you're saying there's a chance.
But I would
just
love to see
quoted
them.
Dumb and Dumber on Baconsale.
Give me photos of Spider-Man. He's a menace. I don't like Ghost Dennis Leary. He actually killed a dude.
Right? Is he going to kill a dude?
He'll probably kill a dude. I hope he kills Happy Hogan.
Just own it now. Just do it. Just do it on purpose.
Tobey Maguire is
Rachel.
kind of like Webster.
So I don't feel as bad scarring my kids with this.
I want the 30-year-old kid.
Way to poison the well, Kent. He has web tile dysfunction.
Well, that's worse than what I said. It's good to have boundaries. I didn't love any of them. So
Why don't you not marry them then?
I won't. I won't. It's been too long. I'm going to have to abstain. It wouldn't be fair.
We've declared it. It is law.
So for me, I'm an organic guy.
Especially if it's out of the butt.